As we enter our 4th century of ministry, we give thanks for the wisdom and the foresight of those who came before us. Now we must prepare to nurture Christian faith and service in the next generation of Presbyterians. Now, it's our turn. In the early 1720s, an insistent group of Presbyterians lobbied to form their own congregation in Morristown. In 1729, they built a wooden meeting house a few feet east of where the present church stands. In 1795, the congregation raised that building to erect a bigger meeting house as the church grew with the town. 45 years later, the congregation entered a period of turmoil, and some members broke away to form the Second Presbyterian Church at 65 South Street. Meanwhile, back at the First Presbyterian Church, plans were laid for a grand new stone edifice, completed in 1894. In 1925, the two Presbyterian churches were reunited, with the church on the green used for worship and the building at 65 South Street converted to offices and classrooms.
I think one of the things that's constant in life and in a church life and in a personal life is change. And apparently our forefathers in this church have done a pretty good job of dealing with change and adapting to change, because we're still here and we're still strong. We're very involved in the community, and it's a wonderful place to worship.
From the time that the first meeting house was used as a hospital during the smallpox epidemic of 1777, the Presbyterian Church in Morristown has been deeply committed to touching lives beyond the walls of our church.
Our tradition of service to the community here is a very involved one, and not only to our local community, but to a number of programs outside of our community. And
just as important as our historic commitment to the community is our congregation's ability to embrace change and to plan for the future. The 2011 session established a vision for our future, creating pathways to discover new connections in Christ. To achieve that vision, we need updated, expanded mission and ministry space that is both accessible and flexible.
My children enjoy coming here because of the midweek programs and their participation that they do within the services throughout the year. They enjoy coming, they enjoy ringing the bells, they enjoy singing, they enjoy being part of the service. It makes them feel that they are actually part of the congregation.
I think that we're bursting at the seams in this building. It's a Wednesday evening and every room is occupied, and there are children thundering above, and it's a wonderful sound, and they need more space to do more wonderful things and to grow even further. With more space upstairs, with more classrooms, there would be dedicated space, but there would be room to even grow the programs further.
Well, our kitchen is 50 years old, and including our ovens are 50 years old. There are no parts to be gotten for these pieces of equipment, and some of them don't work anymore.
The current configuration of the chancel really makes it difficult for our choirs. There really isn't enough room for the kind of music events that we have been doing lately when we bring in extra musicians. So as we are developing more music programs that are very well attended, both with members of our congregation and people from outside the church, the chancel is becoming much more of an issue.
This year, a dream team of more than 30 congregation and staff members identified these projects.
Representatives from 13 church committees plus staff members. Those were all of the session committees plus the older adult ministry, the nursery school, and Presbyterian women. We also have 2 town meetings. When all that was done, we had a collection of 36 projects, but the committee created a consensus to move forward on the 5 projects that make up the capital campaign.
I think that we need to do the renovations here because we are bursting at the seams, so to speak, to accommodate our growing population here and a growing congregation.
The space that right now upstairs is just storage from the stage on back can be captured as usable space for us. And that is just really remarkable. I believe the plan is for it to have 2 levels. It could be used for a children's worship service. It could be used for a kind of a contemporary gathering spot. It could be used for our music programs. Also, we have no place to gather as a community. Our Sheffield Hall is too small. We need to be able to come together, whether it be for a carol sing or a dinner or programming with all the children. And all of that space can be changed so that it can meet those needs for us. Well, upstairs, our biggest problem, of course, is that we can't get there. Anybody with a mobility issue cannot get upstairs. So they have found an ingenious way to put an elevator in that will reach all 3 floors from the basement upstairs to the gym. The gym itself needs to be modernized. It's a very tired space.
I think we're going to redo our gym. We're going to get rid of the stage up there, out with the old, in with the new, right? Get some new paint on the wall, make enough room for a full-size basketball court, which I think is going to be really neat.
The setting is so important in how people respond to and feel about something, that it's important that we be creative and that we're flexible. Movable seating helps us reach that goal.
To have more flexibility, to have the chancel more open, to have the chancel coming out toward the congregation a little more, I believe will just add to and improve that concept, that feeling of being connected.
I think about the challenges that our congregation has faced. We've been trying to see how do we move forward. And for some reason at this point it just seems like God's led us to this time and that it truly is our turn to help move our church in a new direction.
The first thing I think about is all of the generations that came before us, people who have made sacrifices through the years so that we could have the church that we have today, the facilities that we have today, and be part of the community. And now it's our turn to make changes for the future generations.
I think it's important for the families, the many young families in this church, to show a sustained commitment. And it's important for us to step up and join those folks and to say, thank you, I get it, I agree, and I want to help too.
What really strikes me is that even though we say it's our turn, there's a point of action. When things really start to happen is when we're willing to make that sacrifice.
I think we have to sacrifice together as a congregation. And sacrifice to me is not giving what is left over, what is extra. It's prayerfully considering making some kind of a change in your life that you can give, possibly beyond what you ever thought you could give.
I'm very excited about what I see happening in this church. When I see new families coming into the church, when I see our Sunday school classrooms bursting at the seam, when I listen to the inspirational sermons of Dave and Cindy, when I hear our wonderful choirs and instrumentalists, when I see the members of all ages working together on our various mission projects such as Sandy Relief and InReach, I feel tremendous optimism for what we're doing. And you know, this capital campaign isn't nearly as much about new classrooms and a new gymnasium, a new kitchen, as it is about what we're going to be doing to further our work with God. I mean, that's what this is all about. So I'd like to invite you to join me and the session and other members of the leadership team to prayerfully consider what kind of a sacrifice, what kind of a commitment can I make to this church to ensure our mission well into the 21st century and beyond. It's now our turn.